This is the halftime show with Umar Adouri on Pulse 95.
Salam and welcome to the halftime show with Umar Adouri. I am your host, covering everything sport, international, local. Thank you very much for tuning in wherever you are around the world, whether it's 95 FM, Pulse95Radio.com, our app, Sharjah Broadcasting Authority, or even if you're watching us live on YouTube, or maybe catching up with us on YouTube. Thanks to Super Mario and Gabby, and of course my man Ray at the studio on Pulse 95, making this happen live. Now, everyone who's tuned in on Instagram, thank you very much. Masoud, Dina, Andre, Selma, Nashat, of course, and of course you got the kiddos, Hussein and Kulthum as well. Thank you very much. What have we got in store today for you? I'll tell you what, COVID is not going to beat me. So I'll tell you what's been helping me throughout this phase of trying to beat COVID. The Wim Hof Method. If you haven't heard of that before, we're going to be talking about that today. Okay, today we're coming up to, what day is it now? Day 13 on the isolation home quarantine right now, so I should know the days by now. We are talking about what's helped me get through COVID, and one of those things is the Wim Hof Method. So if you haven't heard about that, we're talking about that today. Segment 2, what do athletes do to reach peak? Is it age or is it experience? We're talking about that, and we also try and highlight some of the older athletes that are still making it happen now. On segment 3, do you agree with the all-time player of the year lineup? Now, if you haven't seen this, we're going to be discussing later. A lot of controversy, even though France have come up with a Ballon d'Or dream team. We're talking about that today. And on segment 4, we're answering all your questions on the only place to be at 3, the halftime show on Pulse 95.
This is the halftime show with Omar Adouri.
Salam and welcome back to the halftime show with Omar Adouri. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international, local. Now, a lot of things have been asked and a lot of things have been said, seeing that I've been doing the shows from home. The reason why I'm doing the shows from home is because obviously, unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, I got diagnosed with COVID-19. Now, in doing so, the show must go on. But the questions we get asked a lot, especially if you haven't got COVID before, is what are the symptoms? How are you feeling? And what do you go through? Now, it is very, very challenging. Mentally, physically, it is very, very challenging. But everyone has different symptoms. Now, let's wrap that up for this part. And let's talk about what's helped me get through it in case anyone does face that, and have to tackle it. It's a challenge. It's a very, very big challenge. The Wim Hof Method. Now, if you haven't heard that before, what is the Wim Hof Method? It's based on Wim Hof, who is 61 years old from Netherlands. He's someone that is an athlete and is someone that specializes in breathing and handling extreme measures. Now, normally we call him the Iceman. If you watched the show earlier this year, I had Benoit on, who also does the Wim Hof Method. But what does it do? The Wim Hof Method, it is based on 3 pillars: controlling breathing, breathe retention, and recovery breath. Now, obviously, there's so many different things within the Wim Hof Method, but the breathing part is one of the most fascinating because obviously, when you get COVID-19, one of the biggest challenges you face is your breath, is managing anxiety, is reducing inflammation in your back, in your head, in your joints in general. There's so many factors here that you face. And obviously, different people have different symptoms. My first 2 symptoms were headaches and backaches. So in that case, now a lot of people are messaging me when they have a backache. Say, Omar, have I got COVID? I hope you don't. But these are the signs that normally you get along the lines. Now, how has this helped me? The Wim Hof Method is something that, is proven. It's been out there. You've seen him in ice conditions. He's done numerous amount of he's broken records. He set the Guinness World Book of Records for swimming under ice and prolonged full body contact with ice, and still holds the record for a barefoot half marathon on ice and snow. Now, his story is a lot more interesting than that because unfortunately he lost his wife, who committed suicide a long time ago. And in doing so, he had to handle a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression. And so he went into, formulating a method that works so he can reduce his anxiety and manage his high pressure situations. And this is why Wim Hof is a proven proven athlete. Now, with me, how has that helped me? He's got guided meditations. He's got his app as well. I've actually tried to get him on the halftime show, but I'm not sure who's reading his messages. But then again, he could be a little bit busy. He's kind of global like that. So I've been trying to get Wim Hof on the show to explain more about his method. But how has it helped me? It's helped me channel my thoughts, especially when it comes down to all the different things we hear when you have COVID. You have opinions, you have forwards, you have messages, theories, conspiracies. Some people even might mean well, but say something like, oh, you might still have it. And if you've been doing it for 2 weeks and you've been resting and recovering, it's very, very challenging to manage, staying positive. And I'm not going to lie, it does eat you up. It does tackle you in ways that because you're isolated, right? So it does tackle you in many, many ways. But it's helped me, the Wim Hof method has helped me kind of regulate my anxiety and regulate my thoughts, especially being locked up and not being able to see people, touch, hug, communicate, everything. It's been very, very tough. So the Wim Hof method, he has guided meditations on there. Now, for those that don't believe in meditation, that's fine, but just try to listen to your thoughts. Try to engage without having, something distract you, whether it's a phone, a TV, a computer, an email, whatever it is. Try to stay on that page and really listen to your thoughts. Clear your mind. Breathe from your belly button and not just from the chest, because sometimes we restrict our breathing. So that's how it's helped me, especially during the quarantine, the isolation, being away from family and not being able to really, mix with, my mom, my wife, my cousin, despite them being around. And that's kind of one of the hardest things. It's very, very challenging. So the Wim Hof methods actually helped me a lot. And that's why I recommend you guys to download the app. This is not a paid partnership at all, but he's so good. It's free and it's helped me massively. Now the Adhan is coming up soon. Isn't that right, Ray? How long we got, Ray? Okay, so once the Adhan is done, we're going to be talking more about that. I'll be answering your questions as well. Shout out to Maria and Hiba and Inji and Mario and Mustafa and everyone else who's tuned in. I'll be right back after the Adhan.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adouri.
Welcome back to the Halftime Show with Omar Adouri. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international, local. Thank you very much for tuning in here with me on 95 FM, Pulse 95 Radio. Ray is jamming in the background, hitting me with the moves in the studio. If you're just joining in, we spoke about the Wim Hof method and how it's actually helped me with COVID-19. Obviously, if you're wondering why I'm not in the studio with these fantastic people, it's because obviously I've been diagnosed with COVID-19 and it's day 13. I'm looking up over there because I have it on the board. So day 13, the symptoms have obviously reduced a lot, a few challenges. One thing I will say, guys, try to take everything with a pinch of salt when people are trying to help, because there's a lot of advice coming your way. Some people are trying to say something nice and saying, by the way, it lasts for 3 months. And you're like, man, I've been struggling for 2 weeks. And these people are like, hey, listen, don't worry. It's going to take 3 months or you never will get your taste back. So many different things you will hear. Just try and stay positive. And the Wim Hof method definitely helped me with my breathing, which I had a lot of challenges from day 10 to day 13 with breathing, especially with my lungs. So many things happening like that. Right. Okay. Murad's asked me a question. Omar, you watched the games lately, all the draws, Man City draw, Chelsea lost, Liverpool draw, Spurs draw, Arsenal lost, crazy games. Yes. And I will be talking about that in segment 4. But what I will ask you guys is, recently there was a Ballon d'Or, a FIFA Ballon d'Or all-time team of the year. Let me name you the team. The team is Yashin in goal, a back three of Brazilian Cafu, German Franz Beckenbauer, Paolo Maldini, 2 in the midfield, Lothar Matthäus, Xavi, and then you've got like these crazy 5 strikers, Pele, Maradona, Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Messi. Do you agree with this team of the year? And if so, who would you change? The reason why I asked that is because there's, for example, there's a couple of names you're probably wondering who, why aren't they in there? One, Zinedine Zidane. I don't care if he has to play right back. You have to have Zinedine Zidane in there. The other thing is in terms of goalkeepers. Now, some people will say Yashin's a very old goalkeeper. But when I think of goalkeepers, Peter Schmeichel comes to mind. Gigi Buffon is still playing. I'm sure Gabby, if he's watching, he'd love me to say that because he reminds me of Gigi Buffon. Gigi Buffon is still playing now. Surely his legacy would be up there. But it's not only that. It's the evolution of players that we look at. And Gabby's just joined in on Instagram now, man. He's got a long life. It's the evolution of players that we talk about. When you think of the greatest team ever, how do you measure success? What type of players cement being in the all-time? I'm not talking about now. I'm not talking about, current or old. The all-time greatest players ever. Let me repeat this again. Yashin in goal. Cafu, Beckenbauer, Maldini at the back. Luther Matthäus, Xavi. Pele, Maradona, Ronaldo, Cristiano, and Messi. When I think of these type of players, do you agree with that? 4215 Etisalat or do send that message to Ray and he will let me know. Or slide into my DMs at Omar Aldir Instagram because I'm live now. And Gabby's saying he just said Buffon as well. Murad is saying Oliver Kahn. There's so many different people. But guys, when you think of number ones, we've named some. When you think of defenders, Franco Baresi, that's another one. Surely he would be in there. Roberto Carlos, another one. I sound like DJ Khaled now. Where's my DJ Khaled one, Ray? Drop me that SFX. When I think of number sixes, Makelele. Makelele invented his own position in the world of football. Why isn't he in there? United fans, you're going to be very happy when I say this. Paul Scholes. Is there a better number 8 in the world than Paul Scholes? Chelsea fans might say Frank Lampard. Then I'm going to go on number 10s. So when you look at formations, number 10s, I'm going into coaching mode. Ray's like, what the hell is he saying? When we go into number 10s on the pitch, Ronaldinho, the greatest exhibitionist with a purpose ever. Ronaldinho's not in it. Dennis Bergkamp is not in it. You see what I'm trying to say here? Crazy. Then, let me drop some names for you. For my African brothers out there. George Weah, a number 9, even though he's from Liberia, a number 9 of the highest quality, world class. Lewandowski, another one. See, all these players, when you think of them, what defines success? What would be in the greatest team ever? That's why I'm throwing it your way. Text me on 4215 or text Ray on 4215 and he'll let me know. Or slide into my DMs at Omar Duri and hit me up and tell me the greatest team ever. Do you agree? And if not, don't just say no, because I put this on my Instagram yesterday. Tell me who would be in the team and whose position they would take. Now we're going to get juicy with that. All right, guys. But coming up next, we're talking about reaching peak performance. Now, it's not just if you're an athlete. It's also if you're someone who's trying to get into a routine or at work or whatever you want to do. What defines peak performance? Hit me up right after the break. I'll be right back on the only place to be at 3, the halftime show on Pulse 95.
This is the halftime show with Umar Aduri on Pulse 95.
Yeah, we are back. Salam, welcome back to the halftime show. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you do miss our shows, don't worry. You can catch the podcast on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Anghami. Or if you prefer watching it on your TV screen, on your computer, on your phone, you can catch us on YouTube. Shout out to my man Gabby and Super Mario who do their best to get these shows on there for you. So thank you very much, guys. So far on the show, we spoke about how Wim Hof has helped me throughout COVID-19 with my breathing, which was very, very challenging. When I first had symptoms, I didn't know how bad it would get, but once it hits you hard. The app that he has, which is quite free, it's quite useful actually, is free and it's out there. So make sure you try and get it, and try and go through the meditation stuff as well. Very, very cool to kind of help you centralize and balance yourselves. Right. We also spoke about the team of the decade. Or all-time team of the year. I told you the names and we've had some great suggestions, but who would you replace them with? Now, yesterday, I was talking to one of my best friends in London. Shout out to Derek Pabby, who's got a very, very good mind, and he educates a lot of people in the UK on performance, on personal training, on education. Now, do you agree with this? When do athletes reach peak performance? Now, I say that because some people might say the obvious thing is 27, 28, but then you have the late bloomers. So if you have the people that, flourish later, does that make them special, or is that just something that we are under the illusion that age determines when you should be at peak? So if the athletes or people are starting, let's say taking up a new sport, could be anything, could be squash, could be gymnastics, at the age of 8 or 7 or 6, and they make it pro by 9 or 10. So does that mean that they should make it by the age of 15? Because in the UK, it's very, very competitive, for example. Or do we measure it on intelligence rather than athleticism? Now, when I say intelligence, because a certain Zlatan Ibrahimovic is still doing it now at the biggest stage. So that tells you something. You can't say that he's not still performing at the highest level. So when do we reach peak performance? When are we expected to reach peak performance? 4215 at the Salat or slide into my DMs at Omar Duru on Instagram and let me know regarding performance. Is it athleticism or is it intelligence that helps you reach peak? And I say that because the most common thing sometimes we hear is, oh, I'm getting too old, or I'm getting older now. But then you think of people like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, The Rock, Mark Wahlberg, another one as well. They all have such a strong mindset that helps them overcome it despite getting older. Probably not as athletic as before, but that's where intelligence comes in, and that's where mindset comes in. Hatem is saying mental skill is a key, maturity is key, and understanding of the game. I say late 20s, early 30s is what he's saying. Luther Matthäus, who was in the team of the year, by the way, played in 4 World Cups till he was 40. That's coming from Morad as well. And even for those who are Egyptian fans out there, the goalkeeper, I believe his name is Al-Hadari, he's still playing at, and he's over 40 as well. So that tells you a lot. Masoud is saying when you have clear vision on your performance and your intelligence as well. Yes. So how do you measure peak performance, guys? And doesn't that inspire those that say, yep, I've reached a certain age, but yet you're still getting fit, you're still working, you're still training, and you have a better understanding of how your body works. So I'm going to throw that out there. Is it intelligence or is it athleticism that gets you to peak performance? Coming up next, we're answering all your questions and on the show today. I hope you've enjoyed as much as I have. Shout out to my man Ray at the back. We'll be right back after this. Peace, guys.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Duri on Pulse 95.
Salam and welcome back to the Halftime Show with Omar Duri. We're almost there, guys. We have gone through 3 segments already. If you are just tuning in, don't worry. You can catch the full show on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Anghami if you like podcasts, or even head over to our Pulse 95 Radio YouTube channel, and we got all the shows there thanks to Super Mario and Gabby who put it up there. Right, we spoke about how Wim Hof has helped me get through COVID, especially with the breathing, meditation, and techniques. You've got a free app out there, by the way, check it out. We also spoke about peak performance and reaching peak performance. How do we get there? Is it intelligence or is it athleticism that gets us there? Because when we are a little bit younger, we can get away with things, but sometimes understanding how the brain works, how the mind works, how emotionally you respond to things, and how physically determines getting results. Terry says, if we're talking about The Rock, Wahlberg, etc., yes, they are training intelligently, but we are deeming them as strong, fit, and healthy. I still think they're human, though, and I think that's why sometimes when you see someone on the screen, even athletes that I've worked with, when you see them on the screen, they're larger than life. They're people that we look at and think, oh my God, this person is enormous. And then you realize that they go through very, very similar struggles. But I think something that you said earlier, which was very key, I think mindset determines a lot of things when it comes down to reaching, your personal goals, especially when you're not distracted by what everyone else is doing. I know Mark Wahlberg has invested a lot in recovery. So that's probably one of the 5 dominoes from Reset that we've spoken about before that has helped him achieve what he needs to do. So recovery would be something that a lot of us neglect, but he knows. I think he has a strict regimen. He's up at 4 a.m. He gets everything done by 9, then he gets on with the day and he's in bed early. See, that's discipline as well. So I think, yes, they are icons in many people's eyes, but they're also human. So that's what I think of that. Excuse me. Spicy says, a question to you. What's your all-time team you would like to manage? Very, very good question. I think it'll be the Ajax team of 1990. Yeah, 1990, 1991. That's the team I would have loved to manage, because they were phenomenal athletes and great footballers as well. So yeah, you know, a lot of people have sent those messages in and asked about the all-time team of the year. If you would replace, who would you replace them with? Hatem, it's that peak shift from athleticism to maturity and understanding. Still got it, but when the mindset starts to overachieving fitness, is that what you meant, Hatem? You can train and perform smarter. Yes, again, see, that's a very, very good point. I like where you're going with that, Hatem. There are so many different factors here that I think the older we get in experience, not in age. See, that's another thing I just need to clarify. A lot of people say age determines experience. No, it doesn't, because some people start younger and go through so many things. Today, I saw a post, the difference between Jamie Vardy and Wayne Rooney, both at 22. Jamie Vardy was playing for a non-league team, and both at 33, and Rooney's coaching Derby, and Vardy's playing still at Leicester, and Vardy didn't make it professional till 29, 27, I think, when he hit the big time. So you see all these different factors, you know, talk about peak performance, talk about achieving things, and I think experience, you know, plays a big part rather than age. Because I think sometimes, and I could even be, you know, guilty of this sometimes we can hide behind age and say, yeah, but you know, I'm getting old now. Yes, but it's also understanding how your body works, what works for you, not getting caught up on social media or what's out there when it comes to health and fitness, because there's so many contrasting opinions out there. You know, there's great athletes, great people, young athletes are out there doing these incredible things, but it's not for everyone. That's why one of the chapters I have in Reset is train smart, not hard, because the old philosophy is to train hard and do things at 100%. But as Firas Zahabi said, one of the best coaches in the world, he said, think of volume, think of flow state training, think of ways that you can do things at a steady rate that will give you the volume that you would get in the whole week, rather than trying to kill yourself every day and then eventually getting injured, getting hurt, tailoring off your goals and wondering why we don't stick to things. For example, we've got the New Year's resolution coming up where everyone's going to go crazy and want to get fit. 2020 has taught us you don't know when you're going to be back. So start early, start doing things, make small changes, and don't think about multitasking. Focus on one task and try and smash that. Guys, we are reaching full time on the halftime show. Thanks, Ray. We'll be back every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, 3 to 4. Same place, same time, on the only place to be at 3, the halftime show on Pulse 95. Peace out, guys.
If you liked this episode of The Halftime Show, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.